welcome back to the Resupply with me, Guy Next Door.
And me, DK.
Bringing you your Nats daily double tap of all things Space Marines 5. Welcome to Nationals.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Hey. We got the Peanut Gallery with us this evening. But we also got some people around the table who are going to enlighten us with their trials and tribulations from the day, except for Wolfman, who has no trials or tribulations.
Wolfman.
But we'll go around the table and just people will introduce yourself.
I'm Wolfman, Detroit A.
Morange, Auckland.
Sergeant Tucker, Loveland B.
And Mr. Doom from Auckland as well.
So we've got how did you put it?
we have representatives from 4 of the 5 lowest ranked teams in the tournament, so get set for some expert commentary here.
That's right, yeah. You want to do a spit.
We're professionals.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, today was actually pretty fun, to be fair.
It was.
Yeah.
But before we even do that, I have to give some belated shout-outs. Number 1, belated congratulations to one Mr. Jerbear and one Mr. Dubroman Esquire on their recent nuptials.
Yeah,
So,
congrats.
Congratulations.
Not to each other.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't there. I can't prove anything.
I mean,
It
I
only
saw
makes
some
sense
photos,
when
but
they're
yeah.
But in any case, congrats, guys. And also a belated shout-out to Abby, a.k.a. Princess, who was very upset that I did not mention her by name when I was going over the teams, because she was like, I've been playing longer than Assassin. Why did he get a mention and I didn't? So, sorry, Abby.
Piece
You're getting
of
a
shit.
special shout-out now.
I'm going to give one to Blackhammer. He gingerly held my phaser today when I needed him in the arena. So,
I was told about that.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Would we like to tell that story off the top?
No. That's a private moment.
I see.
Plus, it's not that interesting. So yeah, today was pretty fun. DK, you want to give us a rundown of standings and maybe results? We'll go through the results as well.
Sure. So there's a little bit of noise in the data right now, because some teams have played 4 matches, other teams have played only 3 matches. Looking at myself here, as well as Detroit B, since we're going to be playing first thing in the morning tomorrow.
Loveland B and Auckland.
Yes, we're also going to be finishing up in the morning to end round 1 before we move into the interpool play tomorrow. But at mostly the end of round 1, and overall points scored, Detroit A is in the lead with 24 points, 4-0 in their matches.
Ooh.
Yeah, shocker.
Brisbane.
Who was that?
Oh, wow.
Get that person out of here.
Brisbane in the opposite pool is on 20 points, 3-1 record in their matches. Brisbane did lose a match today to the next team down in the seeding, which is St. George, on 18 points, 3-1 in their matches. And they lost a match to the team just below them. Loveland A on 16 points, 3-1 in their matches. And then closely linked in the middle, we have the 2 aforementioned teams that are playing in the morning. Detroit B on 12 points, Sacramento A on 10 points. And then we have Syracuse A, or just Syracuse, I guess, they're in Pool A, on 8 points, 1-3 record in their matches. And then we have Auckland, the Loveland Lady Killers, and Not Dead Yet, a.k.a. Sac B, all tied for, I guess we say 10th, with 0 points so far. But nowhere to go but up, folks.
Yeah, it's all it's all ahead of us, right, for the week.
Exactly.
I'm sure we're gonna pull it back.
I'm not.
So thus far, relative to our predictions and such that did in my Hot Takes podcast, I guess I wasn't too far off base necessarily, but I think I might have even underestimated St. George based on where they were, because they're looking like they're probably maybe up in the tier 1 with Brisbane and Detroit A.
Yeah, they
or
look
maybe
pretty
at
good.
least for the moment Detroit's A is in its own tier, but we should also mention that Brisbane has not played any of their games with Baden, who is essentially a Detroit native and is, I'm sure, going to enlighten the Brisbane players on a lot of the ins and outs of the Detroit field. Also, he's a really fucking good player, so I'm sure that won't hurt them.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see how they go with him stepping in and kind of what happens to their lineup going forward with him in the team. because any team with beta on it just gets better. Like I played with the guy I played with and against him for many years, and yeah, the dude is just like his brother, pretty damn good at laser force.
Yeah, must be something in the water.
Yeah, it's a Brisbane thing.
It's a Brisbane thing.
Actually, I think it might be a Wellington thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it only applied to those 2 Wellington players, apparently.
I think everyone else died from that.
Either you get really good or you retire.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the Wellington way.
You disappear into obscurity. Yeah, so it was there were some pretty interesting results today. And like a lot of the games, I mean, going to the tournament was sort of said that there's not a lot of
Eliminations?
yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But there were quite a few today.
Yeah, just looking at it now, we have, what is that, 12, 13, 15. This is great radio right here, me
What
counting
maths?
numbers. 19 eliminations
Out of
that
how many
took
games?
place. I can't do the rest of that fucking math, man.
There was 18 matches to 36 games, I'm guessing.
Right. So
Okay.
I mean,
So a quarter of them.
yeah, like
That's definitely higher than I would have anticipated.
Wait, do you know how many eliminations there were?
Yeah, I was about to say 19 is not a
Yeah,
quarter.
that's
of
just
36
over a
DK.
half. That's
Yeah.
half.
I was
over half.
thinking 9 for some reason. Leave me alone.
bro, we've said many times on this podcast we don't fact check shit. So
According to my half-assed internet
yeah,
research.
including like basic maths.
I'm not the stats man. Ask
Pulling
for
answers
us.
out of a hat.
That's right.
Although, I mean, I guess we should stipulate that a lot of those eliminations have still come pretty late in the game, like maybe the last minute and a half.
Sure.
But there have been some that have been quicker than that.
So do you want to talk about anything like specifically about these games, or should we?
Yeah, Detroit A pushed our shit in.
Did they?
My bad. I had no part in that.
The first game didn't go terribly for us in that we staved off elimination with 4 lives remaining
Yeah.
between the 2 people there. But yeah, game 2, it all went screwy real bad. And it culminated in mid-game where Aiden was ready to launch his nuke. He went to go do it. I got directly into the center of the resupply for Detroit A that had 3 players in addition to the resupply who were there. So I was looking forward to a mad reset fest. Russ, who was down at his last life or 2, was just about to get his second gen, and then the nuke got canceled, and it was sad times.
I guess in that vein, like because obviously that's not really a high point. That's quite a low point, right?
Yeah, high point, I would say, was our opening match against Syracuse. We had kind of a tough game to start with where it felt like we were very in control of the game pretty much the whole time. And then at least 3 people on the team were shocked when you get that notification into the game. It's like, and your team came second. I'm like, what? And we only lost by a couple of thousand, but essentially we figured out that we'd fed them too many points in some key areas, fixed a couple of things for the second game, ended up coming out on top, winning that match. So that at least got the tournament rolling on a good start.
Right.
And then any remaining frustrations we unfortunately took out on the poor Sacramento B team. I felt a little bad about it afterward.
Did you really, though?
Yeah.
I said a little bad.
Yeah.
What a bully. Wolfman, you got any got a high and a low?
High obviously is my team winning all of our games. It's good to see, your team play. Even if I didn't play every game, didn't play against Sac A. They had to pull me out.
We missed you, man.
I know. Disco missed me. Everyone missed me.
So you guys are fielding 7?
We are fielding 7, yes. Our team is very much prone to injuries. So
Which,
we're...
on that note, how come Detroit A ran all their bullshit lineups against the other teams, and then it was all of a sudden, hey, it's Siphon Micro 3 hits against Sac A. Let's just beat the shit out of them.
Because when you don't need to do it, you don't need to do it, man.
I guess I'll take it as a sign of respect. So thanks, Wolfie.
You're welcome. And then low point.
It's hard when you're on top,
This
eh?
podcast.
Yeah.
This podcast, yeah,
Being
that's
around all these losers.
no, it's pretty bad.
Okay, see ya. No.
Honestly, it's it's too early to say. But I feel like I could be playing a lot better in the games that I'm playing in.
Right.
But obviously, we're still winning, so it's not putting us at too much of a deficit. But
Sure.
being the I guess, less seasoned person on the team in terms of like how long our group has been playing together. There's a lot of pressure, but I'm, doing the best that I can for my teammates, and that's all that they can ask for and I can give. So you just gotta roll with the punches.
That's a pretty weak sauce low point, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard when on top.
All right.
It's
Here's
hard.
my
It's
low
hard.
point. DK is smelly. That's
I didn't shower yet, bro.
Wow.
Give me a break.
oh yeah, baby.
Marge?
Oh god, low points, so many.
Let's just start with the high one.
No, you gotta
No.
end on a high, so
Yeah.
I'm not fucking depressed by the end of it. I mean, not winning a game on day one kind of sucked, especially after last tournament where it took our team that I was in until Thursday. I kind of don't want to go through that again.
Buckle in, buddy.
Yeah, if we don't have a win by tomorrow evening, I'm not going to be happy.
Yep,
But,
yeah.
we're working on things. And from a personal point of view, I'm going to bring this up because someone else will if I don't, dying with 3 nukes in the pocket, which has led to Ross. I don't know if there's actually a thing yet of building a new thing on the stats website of most nukes in hand while dead. I already have 4 because I got a second one, can't remember against who, and then died out shortly. But
Yeah, and if we don't win a game by tomorrow, he's going to be pissed off. Gotta drop your nukes, Chief.
Yeah, there's a couple of miscommunications and misplay on my part where I was suddenly like, oh shit, got to protect the resup, and instead of thinking, actually, why don't I protect my resup by dropping the nukes?
Hey, look at it this way, man. If you never drop the nukes, they can't get canceled.
Well, I've already had one cancelled as well today, but it was under, I think it was getting close to the end of the game, and I just went.
That's probably the shittest silver lining I've ever heard.
That's like a 10 lining. That ain't even silver.
Yeah, fair turkey to fuse my nuke, but I'm not really upset about that one.
Yeah.
High points. God. I think our second game against Brisbane went surprisingly well. We only lost by about 4,000 in the end, and I think even afterwards all of them came up to most of us and said, good game. We controlled quite well. I think we only lost the medic as the only person we lost in that entire game. The medic's giving us thumbs up in the corner.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not a thumb.
I wasn't actually looking. I was just.
This is great radio, by the way.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the way we played there, I was really happy afterwards. It was weirdly the best game we probably played. Was against Brisbane the second time around because we got thumped the first time around. It was pretty bad. I guess if we're going to look at positives, we played 3 really difficult teams today. We played Brisbane, we played St. George, and we played Loveland A, who
Oof, that's a rough schedule.
Yeah.
who are probably maybe a little bit higher on the tier than DK might have given them credit for. They've played pretty well so far.
They look pretty good. Yeah.
They have.
But yeah, it was a rough opening game. Hopefully we should get some, we can only go up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's going to get extra crazy tomorrow, too, with cross-pool play.
Yeah.
We'll really see what's happening, because we had this set of idea yesterday where, most of the teams who have played the field before are in one pool, and the ones that are less experienced in the field are in the other pool. So when they come together, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, we're in the pool with the less experienced people. So, yeah, I mean, there's other highlights in terms of, other games watched, but I don't know if that's going to be a thing for later in this podcast. So
We'll get there.
I could bring it up. I could bring it up then, or whatever. I'm looking for a nod from the host. I'm getting nothing. Moving on.
Yeah, I'm gonna look down.
Yeah, thanks.
Taka?
I would say a low point is we were definitely not where I was hoping we would be when we came out to this tournament. I recognized that I was going to be teaching a lot of newer people, so I didn't expect us to come out of the gates, winning games left and right. I expected us to struggle and falter, but it felt like we were a little further behind than I thought we would be, and I kind of got worried for a little bit, but it wound up just being that everyone was a little tired, everyone needed to get the feel of the arena, and as soon as we did, we started to figure it out, and I feel we've begun to kind of put some nails in some of the problems that we were having. And so we're starting to slowly but surely make sure that the ship is no longer sinking. So
Well, if it does, it can sit right next to ours.
Yeah, I know.
I was gonna say,
I'll just ask you guys for a paddle and hope for the
The
best.
second game tomorrow morning is Auckland v Loveland B, so if you can
Which
continue
is
that
not
losing
bad.
streak for just one more match.
Honestly, I want to get to play Friday, so I don't know if I will.
Yeah.
We'll see what winds up happening.
Right on.
Someone will get points.
I'll
Stay
say,
tuned, kids.
I will say a definite high point has been all of my players have been very, very positive and very aware of the fact that this is not going to be an easy tournament. This is not going to be what we're used to at Loveland, and that it's going to come down to the small victories that we get. The first game we played against St. George, we got eliminated. The second game we played against them, we didn't. 4 of our 6 players survived. When we played Loveland A, well, I think I, as the medic, was the only one to die. And then when we played them again, it actually wound up being, I think we did a random draw between our 2 teams.
Right.
And it still wound up being fairly close, and then Brisbane just kind of annihilated us because they toyed with us.
They're good like that,
But,
yeah.
Yeah. But to be fair, it also showed us a lot of like our communication issues that we're having that we figured out immediately. Like it helped us in a way of we realized very quickly what we were not doing to the way that we thought we were, because once we started kind of getting like picked apart, we realized what we needed to get better at. And so in a way it was kind of frustrating, but at the same time it was helpful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can kind of relate.
You guys look like you were having a good time in
Yeah.
all the games though. So
Yeah.
just from an outside observer, it looks like spirits are pretty high.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that they're keeping their spirits high. They're not getting frustrated by the fact that we're losing. They're understanding that we're growing, we're getting better, we're learning the arena. They know that these victories, if they come, won't come right away, and that sometimes we just have to accept we're going to make the games close.
It seems to me like there's the feel of this tournament is pretty positive. So I mean, it's only day one, so
Yeah.
we've got heaps of days left for some shenanigans. But yeah, it seems that like it's pretty positive, and I think that does come down to teams with themselves being, having a good time and being mostly positive. Yeah. And that kind of goes a long way. Like when stuff gets angry, like I was saying this in the car ride over, like people feed off the negative energy, and so
Chairs go flying. And
Leave the chairs alone. Hashtag save the chairs.
That's honestly why I appreciate it. I asked all of my players what they expected out of the tournament, and all of them said that we're here to have fun and grow as players.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're here to be competitive, but they're mostly here because they want to meet everybody, they want to have fun, and they want to get competitive.
you get that
So-
full Nats experience.
And that's great, because I'm not stressed. We have to win. We have to win. We have to win. Now I can focus on growth and enjoyment as
Yeah.
well, right? And so it's a nice change of pace for me.
Yeah.
Fuck
Right
that,
on.
it's all about winning, yo.
that reminds me of last year, pretty much, for us. 'Cause
Yeah.
some of us last year was our first tournament, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's just those little victories.
Yeah.
Actually, sort of a side note, how many rookies do we have this year? It's not many, most of
I have
your team.
3. I have 3 rookies. Yeah.
I can't think of many more off the top of my head.
Sac B definitely has one. Manette has not played a nationals.
Right.
She's played like a random draw tournament or something like that. She definitely hasn't played a nationals.
But Rookie of the Year will be an interesting vote this year.
Yeah.
It's a very, very small field.
Yeah, and that's another.
I actually think Snuffles on St. George
I don't
has
think
not
he's
played
played,
has not played a tournament.
The
So
Loveland tournament he came to was the WCTs, not
Right.
the Nats.
yeah,
He's looking
so if
pretty
it's,
good,
if it's
too.
Nats only, he
Well,
might just
yeah.
get a little bit of an advantage from being on a team that's likely to receive
Go
a few
far.
more accolades.
Yeah.
And he is a good player. I shouldn't
he
say,
is.
he's being carried by his team, but
He's done very well for himself. Like, he comes out scoring about 5K every time I've looked. Like 5-6K easy.
Yeah.
Technically, Terrell, Shayla, Jerbear, and all the people who were at 2016,
Oh, yeah, the
technically...
don't exist.
there wasn't an Nats in 2016.
Well, exactly.
What are you talking
Exactly,
about?
so they're all contenders
Yeah.
for Rookie of the Year.
They,
as well.
they all came to an ECT. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there. It couldn't have been a nationals.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
exactly.
Are they rookies with an asterisk as well?
That's right.
Yeah.
We always
Yeah.
have sections in
Yeah.
Yeah.
Professional rookies.
there. Doom?
I'm going to say, the high point would be, not getting eliminated by Brisbane. Just full stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. After last year getting our shit kicked in within, 5 minutes or whatever it was?
From them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I think it was the fastest Elam was Taipan taking us out in I might have even been under 5. It was brutal.
Yeah, but it's Taipan. But first game out of the blocks, having the golden oldies last
Oh,
year
that
was
was
just
brutal.
Yeah.
you know, 4 rookies and yeah.
I've been in that boat though. Like when teams start having competitions about who can elim you the quickest. I've been there. That sucks.
I remember when DK, I think you were here for this tournament, so the San Marcos tournament. Loveland drove out to San Marcos, and we played the top 2 teams immediately back to back because we were late, and they moved the bracket around for us, and so that was
Brutal
absolutely
as well.
brutal because
Little
we
rough.
just got done with our 18-hour drive. We got shit stomped, and then we were just like, great, this is how our tournament's gonna be.
Yeah.
And in terms of a low point, missing a base. I was really shitty at myself for that. I
That
know
happens.
it happens, but
I missed 2. one game.
yeah, but you probably still got more
Get
than
those
30.
elims, man. You get awarded the bases. You don't miss shit.
Bro, we need to like.
Boom.
Like I feel like you're jumping too far. Like you're going from
Baby
we've
steps,
lost
Will.
every
Baby
game
steps.
to
Look,
let's
I have
elim.
high hopes for all of you, even though I want you all to still lose.
Come on, Wolf. baby
Hope
steps, baby
not
steps.
gonna be able to do it.
And-
So glad you came, Wolf, man.
I know.
Yeah, just not being like some games, just not being able to find that groove and just get settled and
Yeah.
But I guess that's coming with learning the maze
Yeah.
and
So I guess the consensus on the field would be difficult.
Fuck
Yeah.
those windows.
Yeah. I would say this maze is probably harder to play in than Brisbane's.
Maze is super easy.
I think this maze is really rewarding to a player who's very fast reflexively and understands where their shots are going and
Sure.
coming from.
Yeah.
But that comes with so much experience and time.
And also, yeah, so when you move through the maze, you know, okay, I'm
Where
coming
I
up
need
to
to
this
look
part, I'm
before it
looking
even
right
starts.
there,
Yeah.
sweet, I've moved on, I need to look over there. Yeah.
Solid piece of advice from just the games that I have observed. Everyone is standing up way too high. If you think you are low enough, you are definitely not low enough, and you need to get lower.
Yeah, easy for you to say,
Have you-
man.
have you realized some of the
down low is
saying?
hard for some
I'm
of us.
just saying, like the biggest thing that's hurting people is getting shot in the back when you think that you're low enough behind a wall, or just standing straight up when you don't have to.
Man, I duck and I'm your height. Like,
I can't.
yeah, like
I can't control that you're a giant man.
Score 1 for the short boys.
next year in Auckland, though, height doesn't matter.
True
So
story.
all the walls go up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
Nice.
well, not quite, but they go well above us.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Nah, but for real, like the height disadvantage, like people not getting low enough, like not watching your window shots,
Yep.
like it's all just messing people up. And there's so many windows. I would say the maze is difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no denying that. But I feel that a lot of people are way too scared of the basement
Right.
and get super flustered when they're down there. But your basement, the basement is the biggest tool that you have if you have a good sense of where you are, because like we're noticing a lot of people are scared, so they're not going down there. And so if you can just stand your ground and recover and still have the other teams upstairs trying to figure out where everybody is, then it's only to your advantage. I mean, most of the time, people will say that if you're in the basement, then you basically, like, the game's already over, but I don't think that's necessarily true if you are able to counteract whatever's happening, like, with the swiftness.
Okay, and how do you do that?
Yeah,
Say it
all
very
right,
loudly.
let's hear it from that top tier team so you can line
You
us up
have
bottom
Micro
teams.
and Josh on your team, and they shoot a bunch of stuff,
They put you in their
and it's all
backpack.
good.
Cool story, bro.
Okay, no, but for real, I see a lot of teams when they get pushed from the ramps go up. Going up is very bad most of the time.
Right.
Going down is easier because you have all that distance, and as long as there isn't any people down there already, you have more time to recover because they have to come down to get you. Like,
Right.
They can't score points from upstairs if you're not giving them a vantage to do so.
And again, I feel like that almost plays into the pool of there's one pool where no one's really played in this arena and one where there has. Because when we played Brisbane today, we went downstairs and Rusty and the scout were already down there.
Mm.
They were waiting for us to go down, right? And St. George was the same way, whereas you guys are going to shove us down the rampway and then come down to us, right? So it's almost like it's that same way where different teams play different ways. So
Yeah, we normally see a lot of new players to the site, push up because they're like, oh, I'm going to utilize downstairs.
Yeah, I think because the general consensus coming into the Nats for people who hadn't played there before was don't go downstairs, you'll get destroyed. So yeah, I think you're right. Like there's a fear of okay, well if we give up upstairs, then we've lost anyway. So
Right, but I feel when you're in the matchups like the Auckland, Brisbane, or the Auckland St. George, or any combination of teams that haven't necessarily spent a lot of time in the arena, like you're equally as confused about downstairs.
sure.
So you gravitate towards trying to stay upstairs. But if you're both downstairs, like you're on an equal playing field.
Right.
So it's just getting your feet down there and
Yeah.
playing around with stuff and figuring out what works because you can utilize it to your advantage. It's just knowing how to do it.
Well, I mean, one of my high points today was my team was basically all dead, and I was downstairs more or less by myself. One game, I think Lone Soul was with me, my ammo, and I was able to have a reset fest down there with people trying to come in and get me, and it kind of changed the style of gameplay to how we kind of operate back home because the walls are all tall,
Right.
everything's in front of you, there's nothing coming out of tiny gaps or above you.
You had an absolutely majestic last stand in
Yeah.
that St. George game. You
Yeah.
got like 1,700 points after your last two lives or something crazy.
Yeah, and I almost did the same thing again to wait, who did you say?
I think it was against St. George.
Yeah, so Loveland Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and Redneck, I think.
No, that was
No.
the second game was me and Redneck.
Yeah.
And then in the last 5 seconds, we both came around the corner and shot each other. That was glorious.
Teamwork.
Yeah, so you're right. Like, if you can, I guess if you could go down there and reestablish yourself, like, yeah, it's a thing that perhaps we don't need to fear.
Yeah, and that's interesting to note because actually the game where we didn't get eliminated by Detroit A, strangely enough, I think some of our best defensive moments came downstairs when Micro was continually trying to break in, and our two scouts were just double pinging him a lot, and he got mad, bro.
You just have so many ways to come up on them downstairs if they're in a particular spot. So
Yeah,
it's
that's the
also
difficulty.
I would say it's easy to defend, but it's not unless you truly understand the downstairs. But I mean, it's doable.
I don't
So
truly
next
understand
captain's
it
vote,
downstairs.
the tournament will be extended to a length of 6 years so we can properly learn the field, and then we'll
I
I'll
mean,
be ready.
Rusty told me earlier. He's like, dude, I haven't even learned any of the call-outs downstairs. He's like, I'm just gonna hope for the best, and that was it.
Well, they make up
alright.
their own ones, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
everyone. I've heard some unique call out from I think every team that doesn't play here that I've never heard before.
Do you
it's
call-
either horribly wrong or just so random that I
Do tell.
Is the zipper something that come from you guys, or is that a Brisbane invention?
No, that is a dirty foreigner thing. I don't know what a zipper is.
They're in the
pretty
zipper.
I'm pretty sure that's like the switch, what you guys call the switchbacks at your
Well,
old site.
the zipper is where there's all the half walls that go
Yeah,
back and
so
forth.
that's the bottom of red
Oh,
ramp
like
up.
red-
Yeah, they
red
call it
ramp?
the
Oh.
zipper.
We're not going to
Okay,
talk
and-
about how that
and-
started. Don't worry about
All
it.
right. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
I guess.
St. George St. George, I think, had the best explanation for that because they called the area just below that in the blue hallway. I think they call it Brokeback Mountain. So after you go,
He calls it. So.
after you go down the zipper.
I've heard tower. I've heard tower corner.
Now you get it.
I've heard tower corner for Yellow Oak back corner.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is that? like who's calling it? It was
Or
called
now
Mama,
we're
I
in your
think.
head.
Yeah, you're in my
Yeah.
head, but I'm learning it.
Shit.
I'm like, okay, so I know what you called this stuff, but
You wait till we change that shit up.
you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If only
Then
Night
we
Owl
diff-
were here.
They're
Yeah,
gonna use
yeah.
numbers on you now.
They're in the
instead of
balls.
call-outs.
In the shaft.
We changed during random draw. We changed a Syracuse call out to food bag because we drove by a store that was called like food bag or something, and then everyone's like, "What the hell is a food bag?" Like, it's just the lawn chair area. Everyone.
Your
No
stores
big
on the
deal.
East Coast are so extra, man.
I know.
Okay.
Oh, I found I forgot. I actually have another highlight for today.
Shoot.
Hooray!
This is so because I was the first person to missile Rusty in this tournament.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
'Cause I looked at one point. It was like Rusty's only had one missile. Shit, I missiled him. He's had 3 now, so I don't have that distinction anymore.
Oh.
I would also like to point out that I don't know if this has changed because I haven't really been keeping up with the stats, but I was the first one to missile Spooky, and all of you are slacking because there's no way.
Hey, I ain't played him yet, man.
I haven't played him either.
I love
yet,
you,
so-
Kevin, if you're listening to this, but you're all of you are missing free missiles on this man. What is wrong with you?
I was actually about to bring that up. One of my favorite moments was I was watching Detroit A and Detroit B play. Kevin runs down red ramp and Ghosty's running up red ramp. They have a moment where they look at one another. He basically waves at Kevin, goes around the corner telling him to watch down the red ramp. Kevin turns, watches down the red ramp. Ghosty's sitting around the corner, comes up, pops him in the back.
Although
I thought that
reverse
was
side,
hilarious.
on the reverse side, when they came out of that, Micro immediately started getting mad. He said, "How y'all gonna let Spooky score 7K on you?
Yeah.
You should retire right now." And then we had to look up that Spooky out hit Micro like 18-13 in that game.
Spooky
Spooky also
lost
shot
face.
me to shit that game as well, so
I think we
I got you, bro.
We realized that Ghosty was the only person who shot Spooky more than Spooky shot anyone else, and that was kind of funny for everybody because everyone was just like, "How did Spooky just do this?"
So
And
fuck y'all, Spooky haters. We love your cookies.
Yeah,
Come
fuck
back, Spooky.
Yeah, we love your cookies.
I didn't get a chocolate eclair today. Were they good? Did anyone have
They were
one?
good.
Are
Well, I offered you half one. You're like, yeah. and
Yeah, but
you're
we were
like,
just
nah.
about to go on and play. And I was
It
like,
doesn't matter.
cream would be a terrible choice.
I
I'm
did
actually
it,
gonna
and look what
bomb.
happened. We lost.
Fair.
Should have ate the eclair, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have turned, gone up the ram, and puked like right at the halfway point.
Yeah, but that means they won't follow you up. I
Yeah,
don't
but like
understand why
my
that's not
resup come up
strategy.
behind me, and so
Oh.
they definitely would have like fallen over.
If normal attacks don't work, try area of effect.
Right. So, was there anything else we want to touch on this one?
Well, we can talk about the MVP rankings right now. I don't think it'll be too much of a surprise to anybody that a lot of members of Detroit A are represented.
Sure.
I think micro.
Yeah, so just going off the top 10 right now, averaging 23.8 per game is Micro, Scythe at 20.6. Inferno from St. George is on 19.39. Rusty is in fourth at 19.36. Ghosty's right behind him, 19.2. Juan, Super Mario Brothers in there, 18.6. Tandor, 18.5. DK, 17.8. Thunder, 17.79. So really neck and neck with me. And then our very own Wolfman, 16.99.
Shut bro.
Man, I'm bad though.
Like Michael
I
Jackson
mean,
bad. Well,
it's
that's
also
the
not
one.
surprising
Yeah.
that there's not more Brisbane names on that because of the fact that Rusty was the only one able to pad his stats against Loveland B. So
Well, because they all switch.
yeah, they all swapped. Rusty was the only one who stayed on command.
Rusty was very upset when Peter wanted him to randomize for that game. And he was like, absolutely not, because you will not take away my MVP points.
Yeah.
He didn't actually say that. I can just only assume that's
I was
true.
gonna say,
It was in his eyes.
I also kind of assume it was just more so he could get the feel of attacking and everything.
No.
I jokingly
No,
say it
it's
was for
just
padding his
MVP points, man.
I jokingly say it was for padding his points, but I also understand it was probably because he wanted to learn the arena to perfection at this point for when he faces Detroit A.
So how many more games have we got left for this current round?
We only have 2 matches left in this round.
Okay.
It's the Loveland B against Auckland and the Sac A against Detroit B. So those are 2 really closely aligned teams in terms of point count. Obviously, both of you guys have 0.
I'm coming for you, GND. I want my points.
And we're only 2 points behind DK in the pool because they managed to 6-0 Syracuse, where we only beat them 4-2. So that's where the gap is. So we'll see what happens. We felt like we played okay against Detroit A, but obviously they'd still stomped us in the ground, so we're hoping things will go better against Detroit B. But I watched them play today, and I think they're going to be pretty tough too.
It seems that we're making pretty good time as well.
Oh yeah.
Considering, initially we thought today that we'd be at site until 10. So that tells me that some good is coming out of the 0-point penalty system.
I really think so, yes.
Well, and there's no ref deliberations either. Like, you don't have to have all the refs come in and talk about, what did you see, what didn't you see.
There's been a couple, but not major.
Not major like last year. No.
I mean,
And we have had a couple penalties that have stood, but they really haven't caused any consternation because they were really obvious. It was like, oh, yeah, duh, you can't do that.
yeah. I mean, so that kind of ties into my low point of the day, or low points is, so I've been out of the 6 games that we played, 3 of those games I've been killed out. 2 of them were blatant penalties, and one of them was a contentious block. But that has pissed me off a little bit because, obviously in previous tournaments that would have at least been called and it would have had some ramifications. But this year, all it means is that I still just died out of the game and nothing happened. So I'm not all the way sold on the system. I think it needs some tweaks. Perhaps the stakes are too high for nationals rather than a local league. But yeah, from the aspect of it making the games quicker, or the turnaround of games quicker, that's been really, really good.
Making the games quicker, and I think just the level of angst overall has been considerably lower. We thus far have not really had any major blow-ups in the tournament, which is always my least favorite thing that happens at tournaments, is seeing people get mad and shout or get really depressed and have to go outside for 15 minutes until somebody talks them down and all that. Because, it's ultimately, it's just a game. The whole point... I totally understand what you're saying about that. That's a really shitty way to go out.
Yeah.
In fairness,
especially
in
at half my games.
Yeah. In fairness, in that kind of example, it's like if you're down to your last life, it's probably coming off one way or another anyway.
True. It's just,
But it's a shitty way to go out.
I hate having that stopped prematurely.
Fair enough. But I can give you another example of the penalty that I got, or rather called on myself today, when we were playing Detroit A in, I don't remember I think it was the first game. And we're not supposed to reflex shot on the ramps, and I was around the corner on one of the ramps, and Josh was pressing in hard, and I'm just sitting there waiting for him to come around, make sure he's not going to do his hand check bullshit that he always does to try to draw me out. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to look. I'm going to wait until I see his lights come around the corner, and I see red flashing lights, and I get the tone, and I just bink right off the wall. And then I look up, and the ref is kind of looking at me, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. And I just held up my phaser for them to penalize me. Because the whole point was I should not be allowed to take advantage of something you're not supposed to do. So by him putting me down, I might not lose points, but that did mean that since I went down after Josh, I had to surrender that position to him.
Yeah.
I had to leave. So I was not able to take advantage of the unintentionally dirty play that I made because I panicked and shot something.
Yeah, that's just more of a reaction, really.
I don't know what it is, but I've been playing in this arena for a really long time, and I don't know what it is with this tournament, but I have been, as soon as we said that, okay, we can't reflex shot off the walls, I'm like, fine, we never do it anyway. I'm finding myself getting tones on walls that I've never even seen before, and I'm like, what is this? I've been shooting people accidentally because of it. I'm like, what is this? Like, shooting up green ramp, like one of the, it was Shayla and she was literally below the wall. There was no way I could see any of her sensors. So she went up, went down, and then I took the shot, and it hit with nothing there. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I'm trying not to be a dirty cheater.
And yeah, I can't, like, for the life of me, missile anyone in this maze, because as soon as they, like, you know, close their eyes, the tone breaks.
Yeah, but again, it's because you moved backwards from Gen 8, you spoiled
So
bastard.
this is bullshit.
This podcast is brought to you by Gen 7.
Yeah.
It's the best packs.
That's why it only works half the time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
missed,
But
you
it's
missed 30%
fun
of your
all
shots
the
on mistake.
Yeah,
I
so
find it's a
No,
lot
you're-
easier to dodge missiles with these packs as well. So unlike on Gen 8, when you start targeting, you're probably getting that missile off. They can run around a wall 3 meters, and you're still going to get that missile
yeah,
off.
they'll be in the parking lot, and you'll still
Yeah.
get the missile.
There, it's the whole Loveland bullshit of running up to you and shoving their shoulder in your face. Just breaks the lock every time.
Yeah.
We actually had when we had Gen 7s, Micro did that to us, and our 18 players watched him do that and went, "That's cool. I wonder if we can do that." And we had a day where we just played a game that it's Highlander, and the goal was to be the last one dead by missile dodging.
Wait,
I
isn't
mean,
that
that's
goal
kind of the game of
game?
Highlander.
But
You're just describing Highlander, bro.
basically, you partnered up, and so you could always see one another. And if you broke the lock, you got to go on the other person, and so you kept trading off with one another.
Oh,
I
And it
see.
was like a bracket system where we paired up, and if you lost, you went to if you lost, you were out. If you won, you went to the next person, and you could always see one another, right?
See, I
You
feel like we were
couldn't
missing
use
that
walls.
detail before.
Yeah.
It was weird. We played the way like that the game works.
I had this idea for SM5 where the medic only has 20 lives. I mean,
Boo.
that'd be crazy. But
Yeah, why can't I have 30? Come on.
This is bullshit. Okay,
I mean, I got more stuff to say.
go nuts. Yeah.
I was going to talk about from viewing from the I don't know, from the lobby today. There's been a few games that have been really, really interesting to watch. If I had to pick a top 3, although joint second, that'd probably be Brisbane v St George. Both legs
Yeah.
were really excellent. There was your first match where Al missed 2 bases finished on something like 100 or so points, and in the second leg of that match where she went and got bases at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they lost the match because of that, but
They
definitely
did.
lost.
Was it that close?
Yeah.
They definitely lost the first game on that, and then they won the second by 100
Couple
and
hundred,
160 or
100,
something.
yeah.
It's real tight.
possibly between 1 and 200, which was really good. But that was both legs that were really entertaining to watch. But I think most people who were in the lobby will agree that the match of the day was Loveland A beating St George by the absolute skin of their teeth.
Yeah.
The scouts sitting on 1 life. That
Otaku Lord.
Otaku
We
Lord
were
who-
cheering. Everyone in the lobby was
who
cheering.
avoided the elim that would have given the match win to the other team, but since he stayed alive, Loveland A pulled out a match victory, and I think everyone high-fived him when he walked out, except the St George players. I don't think they were.
Yeah.
No, St.
It
George
was
was too
also-
busy getting yelled at.
It was
by
also
each other.
really fun to watch because it felt very quickly like it felt like it was going downhill for Loveland A when we were watching the scoreboard, and it felt very quickly, at least from the outside, like they realized what they were doing wrong, began to fix mistakes in the middle of the game. Like I know I remember seeing Dr. Feelgood give Zenless, his medic, who was on 1 life, 3 different shields, and then go down instantly. And Zenless didn't go down because he had that shield, ran away, and survived. And keeping your medic alive for 2.5 more minutes on 1 life is huge.
Yeah.
Because that gets so many more lives out onto the
Fair
team.
Turkey missed both his bases in that game as well.
Yeah.
He went out without his bases. I think it was easily the game of the day, if only because truly every single person in that lobby was glued to the screen, cheering, yelling, and that's really the best part of it. I mean, obviously, you kind of want to switch off in between your own games sometimes, but like any tournament, you want to watch as much as possible, and those games just kind of capture the imagination of what this tournament is really about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Morgan was putting it into some asses on 3 life too, and I'm
Yeah.
like, damn,
He
dude.
went from 50 shots to I think 24 is what he ended at.
Yeah.
And like Caleb pulling that nuke at the last moment, like there was a lot on both sides that made it just so much fun to watch, even from the lobby.
Well, they nearly won the first game too, until there was an unfortunate twist of fate for Loveland A, that Caleb's ammo was killed out when he was down to 2 shots with about a minute and a half left, that prevented Caleb from scoring any more points, and basically just allowed St. George to pull ahead on the scoreboard to build up that little bit of a cushion, but they overcame it in the second game and won the match. So that's why the leaderboard's so tight right now.
And it's funny that all 3 of the best games today involved St. George. So they lost to Loveland A, a game that a lot of neutrals probably would have picked going in St. George's favour, but then they came back and beat Brisbane, which a lot of people probably would have picked that going the other way as well. So yeah, it's there's no been like true upsets, but there's been some interesting results, and it's apart from Detroit A smashing everyone. It's been a bit more interesting than last year's Nats, where it was kind of like Brisbane A won everything, Brisbane B won everything except Brisbane A, and I think even the Golden Freedom Eagles won everything except against Brisbane A and B. So 2nd to 4th to 5th.
Actually, I think we took games from them.
I think you might have taken 1 or 2.
Maybe. Don't quote me on that.
That's for you. That right there.
I'm going to go check it after this, and if you didn't in fact take one, I'm going to give you that right back.
Put you right in the dick.
Check on this.
Yeah, we don't fact you.
But basically between 2 to 4, 2 to 5 is, although it is only day 1, it is a lot more contentious and a lot more interesting than
for sure.
what was very much a run-of-the-mill procession for quite a lot of the last tournament. I think a lot of people, so even DK, backed Brisbane to be your champions, but after day 1, Detroit A are looking painful to play against.
Yeah.
I would say almost going into, I think, what you mentioned in one of your previous ones, it feels like there's almost no way to tell where the middle of the pack teams are going to end up, because this is happening, right? Loveland takes a game off St. George. St. George then goes and takes a game off Brisbane, and Loveland lost to Brisbane. So suddenly what happened between Loveland and Brisbane that didn't happen between St. George and Brisbane, and what happened between Loveland and St. George that didn't happen between St. George and Brisbane.
Loveland's
right?
come pretty. I mean, the game that they played against Brisbane, Loveland A was looking real good.
Yeah, they were.
Caleb was keeping pace with Rusty. Like Josiah was keeping his medic alive really well. It felt like it was an even fight, and it was a brawl the whole way through. And so in my opinion, this has been my favorite tournament simply because it doesn't feel like there is, aside from Detroit A, a very clearly defined what the bracket will end looking like, right? This could go almost any way, right?
Yeah. And
I think that's super cool.
Very rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, like anything could potentially happen in any match, right?
We have some half-assed internet research coming in. I am sorry to report that Team Mana did not score any points against the USA Golden Freedom Eagles.
Why did you choose
news.
right now to do some fact checking?
Pretty sure
Shit.
Fake
my memory is pretty good.
Yeah, so join in next week when I've got a new co-host.
It was a good run.
Judas.
but
It was a good run.
I got back to Than.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's first block.
If he's not famous.
Yeah.
True, yeah.
I'm not sure if it's first block tomorrow or second block tomorrow is Brisbane v Detroit A.
It's in the second block.
Second block, I think there'll be
9:30 a.m.
I think there'll
tentatively.
I think there'll be a lot of eyes glued to screens during that match as well, because even though they have lost a match, you never discount Brisbane because that would be dumb.
And not only that, Baden will now be there.
Baden
will have appeared.
Baden will now be there, and that changes a lot.
Justin does not seem excited.
I don't know.
He's a very scary player.
Yeah.
I don't know who sits in that occasion.
I don't even know what our team lineup is going to be going into that yet. But
I mean, I imagine Micro and Scythe will be 3 hits.
obviously,
just for
I'm saying
Hot take,
I'm
ladies and
saying
gentlemen.
We have 7 people. I'm saying I'm not sure who's sitting there.
You just field 7 people.
No.
I mean, they've got 7 as
Do
well.
7 on 7. Yeah, they've got 7. 7 on 7, 3 scouts. Come on, you guys can do this.
Yeah.
Pussies.
It's just more for Rusty and Scythe to farm.
If I sit, me and Kodama are just gonna fight in the lobby.
Yeah, you're gonna rock paper scissors each other while the game is going.
No, we're gonna throw hands.
Yeah,
at each other.
it'll be like chess boxing. Like there'll be a laser tag match, and then there'll be like a fist fight in the hallway.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it'll be combined points total of both.
Yeah, it's just additional points off the top.
I'm looking forward to both of those things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't wait to see that.
Although I do have to
Kodama?
ref in the game, so I'll have to miss your fist fight.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
fine.
we'll record it. We'll have Facebook Live.
Kodama's
Yeah.
mom is there, so I'm not gonna. I mean, I can't.
I don't know. Applesauce might join in, and she might kick your butt.
Oh,
so
you're
we'll
right.
see.
No,
Yeah.
she will
They
kick
can
my
two.
ass.
They can 2v1 you.
1,000%.
But that's calling it illegal, people. She's not a part of this team, so
Alright, fair enough.
no assistance.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes.
All right, look, that's probably good for today.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed, man.
Yeah, it's, goddamn.
Like you got a big game tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
You
I
sleep
know.
when you're dead.
You're gonna play Loveland B second. Relax. It's
I've got
okay.
to
You'll be
edit this
fine.
shit and
Yeah, sorry, if we get shit stomped in the first match, I'm
Yeah,
afraid
you're gonna
the
take it
frustrations
off my
are gonna
team.
get taken out of you.
Yeah,
I'm very sorry.
I'm well aware.
So tomorrow, for anyone that's a part of the Laser Force tournament Facebook page, today we played around with kind of doing some live commentary on Facebook. So we'll set that up from the start of the day and have that cranking all day, hopefully. So yeah, if you want to see various ugly mugs on your computer screen.
Yeah.
Just me yelling at Taipan most of the time.
Yeah.
I was tempted to make a Joe Buck joke, but I don't think most people in this room know who that is.
He's that commentator.
Okay, see,
Yeah,
there you
good.
go.
Yeah.
The one that everybody hates.
Yeah. Fucking Joe Buck. Yeah, so yeah, join us on there. Otherwise, we'll be backing in tomorrow with more of the resupply.
With maybe a new co-host, who knows what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe
He
someone
might
who-
meet an unfortunate accident tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe someone who actually plays Resupply would be nice.
Yeah. Hey, I'm here right now. I don't know what you're talking about.
Welcome back to the Heavy Circle Jerk with Guy Next Door.
I mean, that sounds appealing, right? All right, well, for today, we'll leave it at that. But I've been Guy Next Door.
I've been Fireball DK.
Always remember to backtrack, kids. We'll catch up tomorrow.